Imagine being politely evicted from your own family Christmas after 4 decades of marriage because you've become too difficult and out of touch. Now imagine sitting alone in a silent house while your life's work quietly transforms into a legacy worth millions overnight. This is the story of Robert, a man the world wrote off as obsolete, and the unforgettable lesson he taught everyone, including himself, about the true value of being seen. I like to realize that our community covers all corners of the world. One quick question: from which corner of the planet are you watching me? Write your country below and let's see how far we've come together. Ceramic clinked against wood, the sound sharper than usual in the morning silence. That small noise was the only warning I got before Maggie, my wife of 43 years, looked at me across our kitchen table and shattered my world. "Bob, I think it would be best if you didn't come to the lake house this Christmas." Eyes cracking on a frozen river. That's what it felt like in my chest. A deep, subterranean fracture. I set my coffee mug down slowly, my hand trembling just enough to ripple the dark liquid. "What do you mean, don't come?" Her eyes refused to meet mine, focusing instead on a smudge on the placemat. "The kids, well, we all think it might be easier if you stayed back here this year. You've been so difficult lately. Difficult." The word hung in the air between us, heavy and toxic, like cigar smoke in a small room. "Difficult how?" I pressed, my voice barely above a whisper. She used that tone she'd adopted about a year ago, the one reserved for a slow child or a stubborn pet. "At Thanksgiving, you argued with Tyler about his business. At Emily's birthday, you made that comment about her boyfriend's tattoos. The kids are tired of walking on eggshells, Bob." Tyler was our son, 41, divorced, working in marketing. Emily was 38, a social worker. Good kids. At least I thought we'd raised them well. "I was having a conversation," I said, feeling the heat rise in my neck. Tyler asked what I thought about his idea. "You called it impractical?" It was impractical. He wanted to quit a stable job to start a podcast about cryptocurrency. "I was being honest," Maggie sighed, letting out that deep, disappointed breath I'd been hearing constantly. "That's exactly what I mean, Bob. You can't just be supportive. Everything has to be your way, your opinion, your judgment." Staring at her, I saw the woman I'd loved since 1907. We met at the University of Illinois, married young, built a life, raised 3 kids, and bought a house in Naperville. I'd worked as a civil engineer for the city of Chicago for 35 years. Bridges, infrastructure, the invisible skeleton of the city. I was good at it. I took pride in it. "So that's it?" I asked. 43 years and I'm uninvited from Christmas? It's not forever, just this year. Give everyone some space." She reached across the table as if to take my hand, then thought better of it and pulled back. "Maybe you could spend it with your brother." "Right," I said. My brother Paul lived in Seattle. We spoke maybe twice a year. Sleep didn't come that night. While Maggie breathed rhythmically beside me, I lay there while the house felt suffocatingly quiet. Memories of Christmases at the lake played on a loop in my mind, the tradition we started when Tyler was 5. The snow, the fireplace, Maggie's famous pie, the grandkids running around. And now I was being cut out of it like a tumor. Morning arrived with an empty house. Maggie had already left for her book club, leaving a note on the counter. "Didn't want to wake you. There's coffee." My workshop in the basement became my bunker for the rest of the day. It was the only place that felt like mine anymore. The house had slowly transformed into Maggie's domain, decorated with her taste, organized by her rules, but the basement was still mine, cluttered with tools, projects, and my way of thinking. 8 months I'd been working on something down there, nothing the family knew about. They probably wouldn't have cared if they did. To them, I was just old Bob puttering around, avoiding real life. But this was real, more real than anything I'd done in years. A conversation with a former colleague, Dave Chen, at a retirement party back in March had sparked it all. Dave had gone into consulting, working with tech startups on infrastructure. Over drinks, he mentioned a massive pain point. Biggest problem in modern construction, Dave had said, is coordination. You've got architects, engineers, contractors, suppliers, all using different systems. Half the delays and cost overruns come from miscommunication. I had nodded, knowing this intimately. I'd spent decades dealing with it. Someone needs to build a universal platform, Dave continued. Something that translates between all these different systems in real time. AI-driven, maybe, could save billions across the industry. He'd said it casually, already moving on to complain about his golf game. But the idea stuck. I knew something Dave didn't know. Back in the 90s, when I was working on the infrastructure for the loop, I developed a coordination system. Nothing fancy, just a way of standardizing communications between contractors. It worked so well they used it for years, but it was analog, paper-based. The city owned it, and eventually it was forgotten as new tech emerged. But I still had the principles, the methodology, the framework. Work began immediately after that talk, not just thinking, but building. I taught myself Python, studied machine learning, read everything I could about modern construction tech. Maggie thought I was wasting time on the computer. The kids made jokes about Grandpa learning to code. November arrived, and I had a working prototype. It wasn't pretty, but it worked. I tested it on old project data, and the results were remarkable. The system could reduce coordination time by up to 70%, cut costs by 30%, and catch errors before they became expensive disasters. Coffee with Dave became the testing ground. Remember that conversation we had? I've been tinkering with something. Dave stared at my laptop screen for 5 minutes without saying a word. Then he looked at me like he was seeing a ghost. "Bob," he said slowly, "do you understand what this is? A coordination platform?" "No. This is a billion-dollar idea. This is industry changing. How long have you been working on this?" 8 months, give or take. He laughed, a shocked, breathless sound. "You built this in 8 months by yourself?" "It's not that complicated. The core principles are solid. I just needed to translate them into modern technology." Dave leaned back. "Bob, I know people, venture capitalists, tech investors. Can I show this to them?" I shrugged. What did I have to lose? My family thought I was obsolete anyway. "Sure," I said. "Why not?" That was 3 weeks ago. Dave moved fast. He connected me with a firm called Apex Ventures, based in Chicago. They specialized in construction tech and were very interested. We had meetings. They asked technical questions, business questions, market questions. I answered them all. I knew the market better than most people half my age. They didn't just want to invest. They wanted to acquire the technology outright. They offered to buy the platform, hire me as chief technical advisor, and fast-track development. The number they mentioned made me dizzy. 7 figures just for the initial buyout, with more to come if the platform performed. Maggie remained in the dark. I didn't tell the kids either. What would I say? "Hey, remember how you think I'm difficult and out of touch? Well, I just built something that might change an entire industry." They'd probably think I was delusional. So I kept quiet. I signed the papers. The deal would be finalized and announced on December 26th. Christmas arrived. Maggie left for the lake house on the 23rd with luggage for both of us, even though I wouldn't be there. "Just in case you change your mind," she said. But we both knew I wouldn't. I wasn't going to show up uninvited to my own family Christmas. Tyler called me on Christmas Eve. "Hey, Dad. Just wanted to say Merry Christmas." "Merry Christmas, son. You doing okay? Mom said you decided not to come." "Decided." That was one way to put it. "I'm fine. Enjoy the lake." "Yeah." Awkward silence filled the line. "Maybe next year, right?" "Maybe." Scotch in hand, I sat in my living room that night. The house was decorated. Maggie had insisted on the tree, the lights, the whole production, but it felt like a museum exhibit. Traditional American Christmas circa 2023. Anger didn't come, which surprised me. I thought I'd be furious, bitter, but mostly I just felt calm. For the first time in months, nobody was disappointed in me. Nobody was sighing when I spoke. It was just me and the quiet. Christmas Day was spent working in my basement. I refined some technical details of the platform. The deal would close tomorrow. Around noon, I made myself a sandwich, turkey and cranberry sauce, because traditions still mattered, even if family didn't. Midnight struck, transitioning Christmas into the 26th. 12 minutes later, my phone rang. "Dad?" Tyler's voice was strange, higher than usual, shaking. "What's wrong? Is everyone okay?" "Dad, what the hell?" He wasn't making sense. "What did you do?" My heart started racing. "What are you talking about? Your name is on the news." The Bloomberg app just sent a notification. It says, Robert William Harrison, Chicago civil engineer, sells groundbreaking construction technology platform to Apex Ventures for, Dad, it says $8.5 million. I sat down. I'd known the announcement was coming, but I hadn't realized it would be immediate. Midnight on the 26th, they'd said. They were literal. "Oh," I said. "That." Tyler's voice cracked. "Dad, what is this? Is this real?" "It's real. That's the initial buyout. There's more if performance targets are met. Could be up to 20 million over 5 years." Silence stretched across the line. Then, "I need to call you back." 30 seconds later, Emily called, then Maggie, then Tyler again. My phone didn't stop ringing for the next hour. I let most of them go to voicemail. I wasn't ready to talk. Not yet. 47 text messages, 12 voicemails, and 6 emails greeted me the next morning. Most were from family. Some were from old colleagues. A few were from journalists. Maggie came home that afternoon, alone. She walked into the house without knocking, even though technically she'd left me here by myself. "Bob!" She stood in the doorway. Why didn't you tell me?" "Tell you what, don't play games? The technology, the deal, any of it." I looked at her. Really looked at her. She was wearing the sweater I'd bought her last Christmas. The one she'd thanked me for, but never worn. Until now. "Would you have been interested?" I asked. She opened her mouth, closed it. "That's not fair, is it? When was the last time anyone in this family asked what I was working on? When was the last time anyone cared about my opinion? Unless it was to tell me I was wrong. You could have said something. I did say things. I said a lot of things. I had opinions and ideas. And everyone, including you, made it very clear that those things weren't welcome anymore." Maggie sat down, looking tired. "The kids feel terrible." "I'm sure they do." "Tyler is devastated. He says he had no idea you were working on something so important. He wouldn't have cared if he did know." 8 months ago, when I told him I was learning to code, he laughed. He made a joke about teaching old dogs new tricks. He didn't mean... Yes, he did. Emily made jokes too. And you, Maggie, you told people at your book club that I was going through a phase, that I was having some kind of late-life crisis, playing on the computer instead of accepting retirement. She flinched. "Someone told you that?" "Linda Morrison." She thought I should know. She also thought it was cruel. Tears ran down Maggie's face now. Quiet, undramatic tears. "I'm sorry." "For what, specifically?" "For not listening. For not taking you seriously. For thinking..." She wiped her eyes. "For thinking you were just my old, stubborn husband who couldn't adapt to how things are now." "I am old," I said, "and stubborn. But I'm not obsolete. I never was." "No," she agreed quietly. "You're not." Silence settled between us for a while. Finally, she asked, "What happens now? With us? With everything?" "I've been thinking about this all night. The deal closes officially today. Apex wants me to start consulting in January, helping their team develop the platform further. They're talking about expansion, international markets. That's not what I meant." "I know." I looked at her. "I think we need to talk. Really talk about the last few years. About how we got here. About whether we can fix this." "Do you want to fix it?" That was the question, wasn't it? Did I want to go back to being the family member everyone tolerated but didn't respect? Did I want to spend my remaining years walking on eggshells? "I don't know," I said honestly. "I know I loved you for 43 years. I know we built a life together. But I don't know if I can go back to being the person you all wanted me to be. We never wanted you to be anyone else. Yes, you did. You wanted me to be quieter, less opinionated, more agreeable. You wanted me to just nod and smile and stop having thoughts that didn't match everyone else's. She didn't argue. She couldn't because we both knew it was true. Tyler and Emily showed up that evening together. They stood in my living room looking uncomfortable, like teenagers caught throwing a party while the parents were away. "Dad," Tyler started, "we owe you an apology." "Multiple apologies," Emily added. I waited. "We've been treating you like you didn't matter," Tyler continued. "Like your experience and your knowledge were outdated. And we were wrong. Completely wrong," Emily said. "What you built, Dad, it's incredible. I've been reading about it. The articles say it could revolutionize construction coordination. One journalist called it the most innovative solution to come out of the Midwest in a decade." "I don't care what journalists say," I told them. "What do you care about?" Tyler asked. "I care about being respected. Not because I made money, but because I'm your father, and I've lived 67 years on this planet, and I might actually know some things worth listening to." They both nodded, chastened. "I care about being part of a family that values me for who I am," I continued, "not who they want me to be. I care about having conversations where my opinions aren't automatically dismissed because I'm old or because I don't understand TikTok, or because I actually remember what happened the last time someone tried a scheme like cryptocurrency." "The podcast wasn't about cryptocurrency," Tyler muttered. "It was about investment strategies." "It was about cryptocurrency." He smiled slightly. "Yeah, okay, it was mostly about cryptocurrency." Emily stepped forward. "Dad, can we start over? Not forget everything, but try to do better?" "That depends," I said. "Are you here because you respect me or because I'm suddenly worth $8 million?" "Both," Tyler said bluntly. Then, seeing my face, "I mean, yes, the money made us realize we'd been idiots, but that doesn't make us wrong about being idiots. We were. And if it took this to wake us up, then I'm grateful it happened, even though I'm ashamed it was necessary. Honesty goes a long way with me." "Here's what I need," I said. "I need space, time to think, time to figure out what I want from the rest of my life. I'm not making any promises about family dinners or holidays or pretending everything is fine when it's not." "That's fair," Emily said. "And," I added, "if we're going to rebuild this, it has to be real. Not just everyone being nice because they're guilty." They left after another hour of awkward conversation. Promises were made, but I'd learned enough in 67 years to know that intentions meant nothing without actions. Strange weeks followed. The story of my platform sale made national news. I got interview requests from business magazines, tech podcasts, even a call from Shark Tank producers wanting to know if I'd be interested in being a guest. I declined most of them. I wasn't interested in fame. I just wanted to work. Apex Ventures set me up with an office downtown. Nothing fancy, just a space where I could meet with their development team. They'd hired 12 engineers to work on expanding the platform. For the first time in years, maybe decades, I felt alive. I had purpose beyond just existing. I was building something again. Therapy began in January for Maggie and me. Her idea, surprisingly. We'd sit in Dr. Kapoor's office every Thursday evening and try to untangle 43 years of marriage. "When did you start feeling unheard?" Dr. Kapoor asked me during one session. "Gradually," I said. "Maybe 10 years ago. The kids were adults. Maggie got busier. I think everyone just stopped seeing me as someone who was growing. I became fixed in their minds as Dad or Bob, this unchanging figure who'd always be exactly as I was. And how did that feel? Like dying slowly. Like being erased one conversation at a time." Maggie was crying again. She'd been crying a lot in therapy. "I didn't know," she said. "I thought you were happy, content. I thought so too for a while. But content isn't the same as fulfilled." February brought a surprise. Tyler came to me with a business proposal. His marketing expertise combined with my platform could create a comprehensive solution for construction firms. Client communication, visualization, branding. My first instinct was to say no, to protect what I'd built. But then I remembered what I'd told him. Actions matter. Let's see your proposal, I said. It was good. Really good. He'd done his homework. We spent 3 months developing it together. Working alongside my son, I rediscovered parts of him I'd forgotten. He was smart, creative, and he listened. Really listened. Apex loved it. They brought Tyler on as a consultant. By July, he was heading up the marketing division for the residential expansion. Emily took a different approach. She asked if she could bring her social work perspective to the platform, focusing on how construction projects impacted communities. It wasn't about the money for her, she genuinely cared. We created an advisory board addressing social impacts, and Emily chaired it. Maggie started taking computer classes. She said she wanted to understand what I'd been doing in the basement. She'd never be a programmer, but she learned enough to have informed conversations. More importantly, she started asking questions again. Real questions. Christmas rolled around again 1 year later. Things were different. Not perfect, not magically healed, but different in ways that mattered. We went to the lake house, all of us, plus Emily's boyfriend with the tattoos, who turned out to be a paramedic, and one of the most grounded people I'd ever met. Tyler brought his new girlfriend, an architect who'd heard about my platform. Deck boards creaked under our feet as Tyler asked me to step outside on Christmas Eve. We looked out at the snow-covered lake, our breath visible in the cold air. "Dad," he said, "I need to tell you something." "All right." "Last Christmas when Mom told you not to come," I was relieved. "I thought it would be easier without you there. Less tense." He paused. "It was the worst Christmas of my life." "Tyler, no." "Let me finish. It wasn't just that you weren't there. It was that we made you not be there. And the whole time I kept thinking about all the Christmases before, all the times you'd given advice and I'd rolled my eyes, all the times I'd treated you like an obligation instead of a father." He was tearing up. My son, 42 years old, crying on the deck. "The platform," he continued, "that's impressive. It changed my life. But it's not why I'm sorry. I'm sorry because even if you'd never built that platform, even if you just stayed retired, you still deserved better than what we gave you." I pulled him into a hug. He sobbed against my shoulder like he hadn't done since he was a child. "I forgive you, son," I said. "But more than that, I'm proud of you for changing, for being willing to do better." "Are you happy, Dad?" he asked, pulling back. "With everything that's happened." I thought about it. The platform, the money, the recognition. But the real answer was simpler. "I'm not invisible anymore," I said. "That's what makes me happy." Through the window, I could see Maggie laughing with Emily. The Christmas tree lights reflected off the glass. It looked like a commercial, but it wasn't ideal. It was real, messy, and still healing, and that was worth more than any dollar amount. Later that night, I sat by the fireplace with my laptop. I was working on a new project, an extension of the platform that could predict infrastructure maintenance needs. I hadn't told anyone yet. Maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't, but this time, it wasn't because I felt invisible. It was because I didn't need external validation to know my work mattered. My phone buzzed. A text from Dave Chen. "Saw the quarterly numbers. You've built something special, Bob. Merry Christmas." I smiled and set the phone aside. The fire crackled. Snow fell outside. Somewhere upstairs, my family slept, comfortable in a house that had almost lost me for good. But I was still here, still working, still building, still proving that obsolete was a word that didn't apply to someone who refused to stop growing. And that, I thought as I closed my laptop, was the real victory. Not the money, not the fame. It was knowing that I'd spent 67 years becoming someone worth listening to, and I'd finally learned to believe it myself.